सर सर सेक्शन 55 के तहत आप मुझे ऐसे नहीं मार सकते हैं।
रुक मुदगिल, इसके हाथ खोल।
जी सर।
और सुन, वो रिकॉर्डर ऑन कर, अब ये सब सच बताएगा। मुदगिल लॉ का स्टूडेंट है, अपने सेक्शन याद रख लेना अच्छे से।
हाँ सर, सेक्शन सब याद है, कोई चिंता की बात नहीं।
क्लासमेट था एक इसका, इसको प्रॉब्लम दे रहा था, गुस्से में आके खून कर दिया उसका।
अच्छा सर।
यही है ना? रूम कौन सा बताया था? 15 या 16?
सर 115। पुलिस स्पेशल सेल।
इंस्पेक्टर कश्यप, स्पेशल सेल।
यहाँ कैसे?
You are being arrested on grounds of suspicion of murdering your classmate, वीर प्रताप सिंह।
सर मर्डर मैंने?
अरेस्ट कर इसको, अरेस्ट कर।
सर आप क्या सर्च वारंट है? सर सर्च वारंट है आपके पास? ऐसे अरेस्ट नहीं कर सकते हैं।
ऑर्डर किया है, कॉग्निजेबल ऑफेंस है, वारंट नीचे है, हमें बताएगा तू।
सर सेक्शन 46 के अंडर यू कैन नॉट यूज फोर्स अगेंस्ट मी व्हेन आई एम सबमिटिंग विलफुली।
ये अनरीजनेबल फोर्स नहीं है, समझा? एक तो मर्डर करेगा, ऊपर से हम पे सिखाएगा साले तू। सच सच। ये बोल रहा है? चल 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 बाहर चल।
Sir, under section 50A, you are compelled to inform my parents of this arrest.
अबे वो तो कर ही देंगे, तो चल। और भाई लॉ स्टूडेंट, शुरू से बता दे, क्यों मारा तूने वीर को?
I've told you this numerous times. I haven't killed him. मैंने उसे नहीं मारा है, उसे समर ने ही मारा है।
एक काम कर, तू हॉस्टल रूम के बारे में कुछ बता रहा था, उसका क्या चक्कर है?
सर एक दिन आया था वो मेरे कमरे में, समर उसके साथ था। उसको शायद उसको असाइनमेंट चाहिए थी मुझसे। बहुत गुस्से में था वो उस दिन, बहुत ज़्यादा गुस्से में।
और भी क्या हाल है?
गुड यार,
बढ़िया बढ़िया। क्या कर रहा है? क्या कौन सी स्टडी?
एविडेंस पढ़ रहा था।
तुम तेरा सीआरपीसी वाला असाइनमेंट हो गया क्या? चलो एक काम कर, मुझे मेल कर दे।
माय वर्क, यू शुड डू योर वर्क।
बे यार इज्जत से कह रहा हूँ, तू मान नहीं रहा, कर दे।
मैं भी आपसे इज्जत से बात कर रहा हूँ, आप खुद कर लीजिए अपना।
बे यार समर, तू इसको समझाया, दिमाग खराब कर रहा है।
एक असाइनमेंट दे दे।
मेरा काम है यार, आप खुद कर लो अपनी असाइनमेंट। आप लॉ स्कूल आए हो, यू सपोज्ड टू वर्क ऑन योर ओन।
लॉ स्कूल में है, बताएगा इधर रिजल्ट तेरा। नहीं समझ आ रहा एक बात मेरा। आओ। चलो, चलो, चलो। गेट तो लॉक कर, गेट तो लॉक कर। चल अंदर। देखा सेवन?
तो तू ये कह रहा है कि वो तेरे रूम में आया, तुझे मारा पीटा, तेरे रूम में पेशाब किया और तूने कुछ नहीं किया? हमें क्या चूतिया समझा है?
मेरी हिम्मत नहीं थी सर। सब उससे डरते थे, सब उससे डरते थे। सिर्फ एक समर ही था जिसकी हिम्मत होती थी उसे कुछ कहने की। दोनों बहुत ही बदतमीज थे, वाहियात इंसान।
चल एक बार के लिए मैं तेरी बात मान भी लेता हूँ कि तूने उसे नहीं मारा, पर उसका सबसे अच्छा दोस्त समर, वो उसे क्यों मारेगा?
सर वो बहुत अच्छे दोस्त थे तो सबको पता है, लेकिन इस हादसे से 2 दिन पहले उनकी बहुत बड़ी लड़ाई हुई थी। कुछ लोगों ने भी देखा था। उसके बाद से उन्होंने बात नहीं करी।
कौन कौन है मेरी टीम में? शिल्पा।
वीर! आ वीर! इधर आ!
पॉज।
अबे वीर, क्या बोल गया कमेटी में तू?
क्या हो गया?
अबे तू मेरा नाम लेके आया, ठीक है? और आवाज नीचे रख अपनी।
मैंने कोई नाम नहीं लिया, मुझे पता नहीं किस बारे में बात कर रहे हैं
हीरो मत बन यहाँ पे। तू मेरा नाम लेके आया और चुटकी एक कार्टून की तरह हीरो मत बना।
तुम। बकवास मत कर।
चल एक गेम खेलते हैं। हाथ निकाल। बहुत गुस्सा है ना तेरे में? छोटी छोटी बातों पे मर्डर करता है।
सर मैं निर्दोष हूँ।
चिड़ी आउट। वैसे एक काम अच्छा किया तूने, तू भागा नहीं। पूछ क्यों? मैन आउट।
क्यों सर?
समर का बाप तो एमएलए ठहरा। अगर उसने किया है और वो पकड़ा जाएगा तो उसका बाप तो हाथ पैर मार के उसको बचा ही लेगा। लेकिन अगर तू भागता और पकड़ा जाता तो मैं तुझे इतनी बुरी तरह से मारता ना कि तेरे सारे सेक्शन धरे के धरे रह जाते।
सर लेकिन जब मैंने कुछ किया ही नहीं है तो मैं क्यों भागता?
हाथी उठ। सुन, अब सब सच बता दे, वरना जो खेल है ना ये यूं ही चलता रहेगा और कभी खत्म नहीं होगा।
मैंने कुछ नहीं किया है सर, मैं सच बोल रहा हूँ।
अरे हमारे कायजा सोजे, तूने वेपन का क्या किया ये तो बता दे।
गलत आदमी से पूछ रहे हो, मैंने कुछ नहीं किया। उसके जो यहाँ नहीं है उसने किया है, समर से पूछिए।
कहानी तो तेरी अच्छी है लेकिन तेरा फैसला तो कल कोर्ट ही करेगा।
Case number 7, State of Delhi versus Kabir Mehra. Prosecution must application.
Your Honor, the prosecution requests to present the statement of fact before you. On 5th June 2015, Mr. Veer Pratap Singh was found brutally murdered in his hostel room. At around 5 a.m., his body was discovered, and after thorough and immediate investigation, the watch of Mr. Kabir Mehra, the prime accused in the case, was found exactly 5 feet away from the body of Mr. Veer Pratap Singh. The court recognizes that in the past, Mr. Mehra as well as Mr. Veer Pratap Singh did have differences. However, the prosecution feels that there is sufficient evidence to prove that Mr. Kabir Mehra should be held responsible and guilty for the murder of Mr. Veer Pratap Singh in the case above. Your Honor, the prosecution now requests to call upon witness number 1, police officer Mr. Dhaya, who investigated the crime scene.
Show me the case ID.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Dhaya, could you please elaborate on your investigation of the crime scene?
I entered the crime scene on the morning of the murder at around 8 a.m. So when I entered the room, I found the dead body of Mr. Veer. It was hanging from the bed, and he had a wound on his neck. And after further investigation of the crime scene, we also found a watch that was kept on a table almost 5 feet away from the dead body. And after further investigation by me and my fellow constable, we found that that watch belonged to Kabir.
I called upon the forensic lab expert as a witness of the court.
On the lab's findings, it has been determined that the murder was committed by thrusting a sharp object in the deceased genital. However, the exact murder weapon has not been determined as of now. Your Honor, the prosecution now requests your permission in order to call upon our second witness to the witness box, Mr. Karan Shukla, who is a classmate of the prime accused in the case above.
Granted.
So, Mr. Karan Shukla, please tell the court what was the relationship that you shared with the accused, Mr. Kabir Mehra?
Summer and we were great friends, rather the best of friends. There's absolutely no way anyone can even think of Summer killing me. On the other hand, Kabir used to get bullied a lot by me. He had even told me once that he'd take revenge for whatever Veer's done to him.
Point to be noted. Your Honor, as witness number 2, Mr. Karan Shukla has stated very clearly that Samar and Veer were extremely good friends, and there is no possibility for why Samar could have possibly murdered Veer. On the second hand, another point to be noted is the fact that Kabir had very well stated that he seek to take revenge for the fact that he was bullied.
Would the defense like to question the witness?
Oh,
Yes, my lord. So, a certain incident took place between Veer and Samar 2 days before the murder. Can you please elaborate on that?
so 2 days prior to the incident, we were playing basketball on the basketball court with Veer, of course, when Samar suddenly entered and charged towards Veer. There was some misunderstanding amongst them regarding a disciplinary committee hearing. The fight got really physical and we had to interrupt. And I think both of them didn't speak much after that.
So, after this grave and violent fight, did Samar threaten Veer?
Yes, he did. He did threaten Veer.
Your Honor, now I'd like to call upon my another witness, Kabir's roommate. So tell us something about Kabir.
Kabir, he's a very nice person, as in the best roommate you can get. Helpful, cheerful, calm.
And where was he at the time of the murder?
I guess he was not in the room at the time when the crime took place, but he regularly goes to the library to study at that time of the day. So I guess he was in the library.
Defense counsel, have you submitted the CCTV footage to the court?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, looking at all of the corroborative evidence that has been collected by all of the witnesses who visited the court today, one thing is very clear, that Mr. Kabir Mehra did have a hand in the murder of Mr. Veer Pratap Singh. On several accounts, the points to be noted in the court are, firstly, the fact that there were instances in the past of rivalry or differences between Mr. Kabir Mehra as well as Mr. Veer Pratap Singh. Secondly, the watch of Mr. Kabir Mehra, which was found near the body of Mr. Veer Pratap Singh with fingerprints on them. Therefore, the prosecution clearly believes that this court must rule in favor of Mr. Veer Pratap Singh and hold Mr. Kabir Mehra guilty of the crime of murder of Mr. Veer Pratap. Your Honor, the prosecution is raising two main contentions. First being that my client Kabir killed Veer because he used to get bullied. The second contention being raised by the prosecution is that my client Kabir left his watch in the room while murdering Veer Pratap Singh, which they feel is a very strong enough proof of my client murdering Veer Pratap Singh. Your Honor, we can't assume that my client Kabir killed Veer Pratap Singh only because he used to get bullied. And as far as the watch is concerned, Your Honor, I would like to present this document signed by the college authorities, which clearly states that my client Kabir filed a lost and found complaint 2 days prior to the incident. And Your Honor, we cannot forget the fact that another crime accused in this case, Samar, who has a history of violence and had threatened the deceased, is absconding.
On examining the facts of the case and considering the arguments put forth by both the parties, the prosecution has failed to establish its case beyond reasonable doubt. I hereby acquit Mr. Kabir Mehra of all the charges against him due to lack of evidence against the accused for the murder of Veer Pratap Singh. I would further direct the police to continue the search for Samara.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces, bright and early for their daily races, going nowhere, going nowhere. Their tears are filling up their glasses, no expression, no expression. Hide my head, I wanna drown my sorrow. No tomorrow, no tomorrow. And I find it kinda funny, I find it kinda sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world. Children waiting for the day they feel good. Happy birthday, happy birthday. And to feel the way that every child should sit and listen, sit and listen. Went to school and I was very nervous. No one knew me, no one knew me. Hello teacher, tell me what's my lesson. Look right through